Alright guys, welcome back. Today is day 2 of week 2, multiplying radicals. So I'm going to go through these 6 problems that are similar to the 6 problems that I left for you guys and the PDFs. So start off with this video first and then try the problems, and if you still need help, then we'll set up a Zoom chat. So this is number 1. You can see the answers already listed here, so I'm just going to get to the answer. So we're going to multiply out using distributive property. So the square root of 2 times the square root of 6 is going to be the square root of 12. And then the square root of 2 times the square root of 4, or excuse me, the square root of 2 times 4 is just going to be 4 the square root of 2. Alright, so the square root of 12 breaks down into 3 and 4. And then the square root of 4 is 2. So now we have 2 the square root of 3 plus 4 the square root of 2. They are not like terms. They cannot be simplified anymore. So that is your answer. Alright, number 2. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to multiply out using distributive property. So the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 will be the square root of 9. And the square root of 3 times the square root of 5 will be the square root of 15. The square root of 9 is 3, and our 15 does not break down into anything usable. 5 times 3 is 15, but neither one of those are perfect squares. So 3 plus the square root of 15 is going to be our answer. Let's take a look at number 3 here. Alright, number 3, more of the same. We just want to multiply out. So we have the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which will be the square root of 4. Then we have the square root of 2 times 5, so that'll be 5 the square root of 2. Remember, the 5 is not under a square root, so you can't actually multiply the 5 and 2 and get 10. The only one that can break down is the square root of 4, which is, in fact, 2. 2 plus 5 times the square root of 2. As you can see, that is the correct answer. Okay, number 4 has just a couple more square roots in them, but it's the same general idea. So it's going to be negative 2 the square root of 10 times the square root of 2. You can only multiply the square roots in that problem, so it's negative 2 times the square root of 20, because the 10 and 2 are both underneath the square root. The next one's going to be negative 2 square root of 10 times 2. On this case, the 2's are on the outside, so it's going to be negative 2 times 2, which is negative 4. And then the square root of 10 have to stay the same because there's no other square root. You look over here at the 20, and you can break down the 20 using 4 and 5. So they're both underneath the square root. The square root of 4 is 2, so that comes out. And then negative 2 times 2 is how you get your negative 4. And you'll notice that we did not change the last terms there, negative 4 times the square root of 10. And that's because you cannot break down 10 into any perfect squares. Alright, so the next two are going to be just like those two, maybe slightly more difficult. Alright, so let's go with red on this one. Alright, so it's 4 times the square root of 3a times 3 times the square root of 2a. So again, you can multiply what's on the outside. So on that particular one, I can multiply 4 times 3, because they're both on the outside, and I can multiply the square root of 3a times the square root of 2a, because they're both on the inside. Of course, that'll give me 12. 4 times 3 is 12. And then that'll give me the square root of 6a squared. And then we're going to move on to the next group. So now that one's going to be a positive 4 times the square root of 3a times the square root of 6. Now the square root of 6 doesn't have a number in front other than the number 1, so I can multiply the 3a and the 6 together and I get 4 times the square root of 18a. Now if you'll notice, this looks nothing like the answer that's listed above, so that tells me that I still have to break them down a little more. So what can come out, basically? What can I divide by? Well, on the first one, the only thing you can do is that a squared. So it's going to be 12a, because this is like a little 2 here. And 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that a comes out. But the 6 is stuck. And as you can see, that matches our answer. Alright, the next one, we still have the 4 on the outside, but we're going to split up 18 into a perfect square. That'll be 9 times 2. And then we still have that square root of a. The square root of 9, of course, is 3. And the 2 and the a, you can't do anything with them. 4 times 3 will give me 12. Alright, so now I will have 12a, the square root of 6, plus 12, the square root of 2a. And as you can tell, same answer that we got at the top. Alright, last one. I try not to give you guys too many problems to do on a daily basis, because I know I'm not your only class. So last one here, we have the square root of 6x times the square root of 5x. They are both underneath the root, so you keep the root. 6 times 5 is 30. X times x is x squared. Alright, we have a negative sign, so that's going to be a negative for the next one. It's the square root of 6x times negative 3, the square root of 6x. So if I write that down, it'll be negative 3 square root of 6x times the square root of 6x. So that'll be negative 3 times the square root of 36x squared. 6 times 6 is 36. X times x is x squared. I'm going to go back to the first one there. Use blue on this one. This 2 is divisible by this 2, so that means that x comes out. But 30 does not. You cannot break down 30 with a perfect square. 3 and 10 do not work. 5 and 6 do not work. 2 and 15 do not work, so that one is done. So that's going to stay as x the square root of 30. Now 36, of course, is a perfect square. That's just going to give you 6. And that 2 is divisible by the square root, so that means an x comes out. So now everything came out, so we have 6x times negative 3, and that is how we get our answer of negative 18x. And of course the x squared of 30 just drops down. And then now our answer matches the answer listed. So, alright, again, these 6 problems are similar to the 6 problems that I assigned to you guys. That'll be available on Canvas on Monday morning for week 2. If you guys have any questions, concerns, revert back to the video. And if that doesn't help you, then you know I've been setting up normal Zoom hours. And so just check out the email and the announcements, and then you guys can tune in for a Zoom chat. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.